guys, it's Raven Nickel here.
separated by just 0.7 of a second. So a pretty tight group in the platinum category.
Yeah, not only in the platinum category, but also in Pro 1500. I think we're absolutely going to see a cracker of a race here this afternoon at Road America. As you mentioned, so many drivers within that platinum class the fastest class of the Radical Cup North America Series, starting right up at the pointy end, and that's going to bode well as we head down in that long run into turn one. Then, of course, it's going to be a question of who can come out on top in terms of those Pro 1500 drivers. Red Nicole was ultra quick, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Yang and Vaughan Glace have something to say about that. And we'll see how that unfolds, because multi-class racing, you always, the unknown is the only thing that you know.
Absolutely, and with mixed conditions really through the morning, you kind of started out with a wet session, then they got a dry, kind of under cloud cover session, then qualifying in the sun. They've had a mixed bag of different conditions all throughout the day here. Track temperatures are certainly up, and after Indy Next and the NTT IndyCar Series practice, a lot different looking racetrack, a lot different grip level coming in. Once these cars are not going to go as deep into the corner, so you are going to cross over the rubber coming into Apex a little bit, later on, and you'll have a little bit of that getting used to that the first couple of laps, just kind of settling in.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think the way that the Hankook rubber interacts with the Firestone rubber, that will definitely provide drivers with a different grip level. It's not something that they're going to be used to, because the Indy cars have just gone out, obviously. This has been trying conditions this morning, dried up for qualifying, but this is the best conditions of the day. And it's been a long day for these drivers too, so I wouldn't be surprised 40 minutes behind the wheel if we don't see a little bit of fatigue, because these guys have had a huge amount of track time today. 2 30-minute sessions plus qualifying, and now a 40-minute race. The Radical Cup North America Series definitely gets treated well here at Road America.
Well, I think that's also the advantage of competing in this series as well. Obviously, the whole concept of the car being a track car, and whether you're at the country club, like Autobahn, or certainly here at Road America during a high-performance drag event, track days, etc. The advantage of competing with the Radical Cup North America and sister organizations within the corporate umbrella is you do provide a lot of great track time for these drivers. They get to experience different track conditions, different environments, and be able to compete. And that's certainly one of the more unique things about Radical Cup.
Yes, absolutely. I think on these IndyCar weekends, the Radical Cup usually has more track time than anyone else. And certainly our partners at USAC also do a fantastic job providing plenty of track time for our competitors at the events where we're alongside Porsche Sprint Challenge. So absolutely, this is a great way to get into the sport at a relatively low cost.
So just a few moments away from getting engines fired up here on the false grid. 1 minute away from engines fire, and then we'll get them on pit lane, and of course behind safety car, and get this race number one of the weekend. This is the first race all the way through now for the rest of the weekend, and it's time to get the competition on. Elbows out, gloves on, visors down. Let's go. So just moments away from getting the engines fired here on the grid. Yellow flag at the TireRack.com starters bridge. And we've talked, quite literally, throughout the previous sessions of the day today, Tom, about, Wayne Williams getting that opportunity from Greenwood, getting that backup car. They've kind of pulled aside. Is the race car fatigue also going to play into that? We know that he overheated during the early session earlier today, during the second practice session. So, what are we going to see from the cars? Cars are going to have a lot higher temperatures here underneath the 40 minutes of competition, rather than a 20 to 30-minute session. So it's an extra 10 minutes basically on the car from the session, and it's much warmer this afternoon than it was today earlier.
Well, with that, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, around the world to Road America. This is the Radical Cup North America, coming to you live from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And yes, some big camaraderie already in this grid. The big news out of the weekend so far: Wayne Williams and Raiden Nicol are 2 championship leaders. Wayne Williams, the class leader in Platinum class, and Raiden Nicol, the leader in points for Pro 1500, both making big impacts with the concrete at Road America yesterday. Overnight, plenty of work done by the Primal Racing crew to get Raiden's car back on track. They were helped out by Team Stradale, who provided a welder and someone to weld that chassis back together in the front right-hand corner. And then Wayne Williams, who we can see here leading the pack around behind the safety car. Wayne Williams relegated to a backup car provided by Jason Greenwood, who we don't see here this weekend, but a great Radical Cup competitor. Really shows the camaraderie that we have in this series.
Absolutely, and we've seen it time and time again, even when it's just hands pitching in to help replace some bodywork or replace an upright, anything like that. We've commonly seen within this entire Radical Cup paddock area, just everybody's there to have a good time. You're there to compete, you're there to race. Obviously, there's things to win, and that fires the passion of the sport of auto racing. For all of our Radical Cup North America competitors, but really it's a big family, and we've seen that time and time again in the years here at Road America as well.
Well, let's take you through the grid for this one. We've got plenty of cars to get you through, and starting right at the back, it'll be David Albon. Jim Booth won't be partaking in this one. Couple of little medical issues for Jim. Nothing to do with racing cars, but just recovering from some knee surgery early on. Alongside Kenny Nail, it'll be Aaron Ziegler, one of the locals from row 14. And then in row 13, look out for Dermot Ennis alongside, well, it was meant to be Dale Dillon. He's also elected to sit this one out. In row 12, starting from wow, it's amazing how far back these guys are. 24th on the grid, David Mason doing a pretty good job in Pro 1500. Alongside him, it's Brady Clapham in Pro 1340, our championship leader in that class. Row 11, Richard Girosha starts alongside our pole sitter in Pro 1340, Mike D'Ambrose Sr. And in row 10, Arul Venkatesh will start alongside Dennis Kelly. Dennis Kelly, a Lamborghini driver, trying his luck at Radical Cup. From row 18, it's James Long, another driver. So many coming from Primal Racing this weekend in Georgia. He'll start alongside Andy Lowe, the British driver, who also stars in a United Kingdom series. And great to see so many nationalities represented this weekend. From row 8, it's Mike Anzaldi from 16th on the grid. He'll start alongside Chris Hunn. And Chris Hunn having a fairly good qualifying session in Pro 1500, one of our gold class competitors. Spencer Schmidt, the son of Sam Schmidt, will start from row 7 alongside Valen Venkatesh, the younger of the two Venkatesh brothers for Cameron Racing. And then inside the top 6 rows, it's Austin Riley, who start from position 12. Luke Kendall will be on the 11th position. On row 5, we'll try and get through these guys quickly. It's Jack Yang who'll start alongside Vaughan Glace. Vaughan Glace, very impressive. From row 4, Ben Blander alongside Raider Nicole, the pole sitter in Pro 1500. Row 3 will be Chip Roma alongside him, Scott Wagner. Row 2, Steve Jenks alongside John Field. And then row 1 will be Louis Schreiber, who start alongside Wayne Williams. And we've had a spin right at the back of the pack as these cars come down to start, hopefully. And the green flag is out, so a slightly delayed flag flying, but we are racing here at Road America.
And the field will thunder down into turn 1 here at Elkhart Lakes Road America. And with the battle 3-4 wide mid-pack, towards the end of pit lane, a little bit of elbows out into turn 1. Battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all going a little bit track limits. Of course, that is completely open. If there's tarmac there, they're good to go.
And Wayne Williams has converted his pole in the Platinum class to the early race lead. Of course, Louis Schreiber in that 111 machine will be looking to get past. Louis has had a win evade him so many times here at Road America. You can already see him duck to the inside because right behind him is John Field and Steve Jenks having a look too. with Chip Roma all up in their business as well. The top front runners in the Platinum class, line astern, and we wait and see who's picked up the early lead in Pro 1500. It is indeed young Raiden Nicol in that black and gold car. So whilst the Platinum class cars are certainly ahead, Ben Blander sort of rounds out the rear of the top pack in 7th position. Raiden Nicol right on his bumper now as they come through the carousel.
And with the unload here at turn 9 and 10, this has been a little tricky this afternoon with the marbles, as well as just the heat and the temperature throughout the afternoon. It's been a little slippery throughout the day today, and you want to make sure that you're following into the kink, line astern. Not a very good place to get too wide, but as they come into 12, this is a great passing opportunity.
And you can see Louis Schreiber having a look there early on. He wants to get on with this motor race. And you can see he's got a great run on Wayne Williams, who's had a bit of a moment at the exit of Canada Corner. And he's really, really struggling as they head up into the final corner to complete lap 1. This is a long race, though. 38 minutes left on the clock. The Radical Cup North America Series, a go here at Road America. And it appears that Raiden Nicol's been reeled in a little bit by Jack Yang. So Yang had plenty of pace through the practice sessions, and a full course yellow comes out.
And I would imagine that is going to be 4 down in turn 14 there, if the car has been stricken. We'll take a look and see who that appears to be, and that looks like it may be the 8 of Wagner.
Yeah, certainly the 8 of Wagner tumbling down the time charts there. Raiden Nicol was getting a fair bit of pressure from Jack Yang. And I tell you what, Austin Riley is doing a sterling job as well. 3rd in class at the moment. His old sparring partner from Pro 1340 days, Mike Anzaldi, right behind him. Luke Kendall in the thick of things too in that Pro 1500 class. And Mike D'Ambrose Sr. still leading Pro 1340. So, on that opening lap, we didn't see a change in terms of the pole sitters in the classes, but certainly some jockeying for position throughout that pack. As you mentioned, we've lost Scott Wagner on that opening tour.
And that's unfortunate. Wagner had started fairly far up into the field here with the Platinum category. But interesting to note, though, on that start, it was a little bit jumbled up. They were out of line well before the green flag came out at start-finish. So not sure if race control would look at that at all, but it looked like he was a tad chaotic just because of Wagner spinning out from the middle of the pack.
Yeah, and tumbling down the order as well. The person that really lost out there alongside Scott Wagner, if you will. I'm sure he was caught up in it, but it was Vaughan Glace. So the rookie that stepped up to Pro 1500 for this round, he actually won on debut earlier this year at a previous round at Barber Motorsports Park in Pro 1340. Stepped up to Pro 1500. He started right in the thick of things, and he's dropped from 10th on the grid. So he was vying really for 3rd. He was 3rd fastest in class, and now has tumbled down to right down to 22nd position.
You know, and in class, you know, Vaughn dropping through, that's down to 12th out of 14 cars within that Pro 1500 category. So that's certainly something that he's going to have to, you know, buckle down a little bit and maybe try to gain a few positions here. But again, this is really early on. We're less than 5 minutes, actually just at the 5-minute mark into this first Radical Cup North America event weekend, first of 3 races. If we can maybe potentially get 14 cleaned up, and we can maybe go green next time by, hopefully.
Yeah, it's a long track, isn't it? So it's usually a good circuit for getting going again quickly. The safety crews do a good job here at Road America. So I've got no doubt we'll be going back green as quick as we can. So we're just being told that out of the kink is actually where we've got the car off. And of course, the kink has claimed a few victims already this weekend in a number of series. And
it looks like they're checking for oil right now. So that would be maybe after contact. damaging radiator, anything like that. Not sure if that's going to be water or if that's oil. It looks like it's pretty sticky, which is more water at this temperature, but if it evaporates off pretty quickly. But if that is oiled down, that's going to be a really bad place.
Scott Wagner was in an SR10, so they have the front-mounted radiators. So if there was reasonably heavy contact somewhere in that lap off the start line, front to back contact, which there may well have been, it's quite possible that he lost a radiator, and that would explain the fluid on the racetrack. Hopefully it is just water.
It's hard to read the safety team sometimes when they're doing the T&I or a track inspection in that situation, but typically you can kind of tell their foot sticks pretty good. It's probably going to be water, but if they've got any of the kitty litter out there in that situation, this is going to be a little bit longer of an extended cleanup.
So, not the start we really wanted to see in the Radical Cup North America Series. It certainly was the start that Wayne Williams wanted, converting his pole position into the early lead. Louis Schreiber sitting in second, and I think I did notice that grid graphics might have been switched over. But you can see there's been fairly big impact into the wall, or certainly a lot of emergency equipment.
It looks like in this situation they may have a safety truck turned sideways just to protect the driver, but you can definitely tell where the fluid was laid down and then pulled over. So if that is indeed oil, this is going to be an extended cleanup, but it's hard to tell what that is. It looks like it may be evaporating off. So again, difficult to tell from the camera angle. But looks like that safety truck is turned to protect the car and the wrecker that would be back there for when the field comes out. So there's actually, for those of you that may be new to Road America, or this is your first visit here to Road America, or the first time that you've been here for an IndyCar weekend, there are some safety protocols that Road America has and uses at other events that we don't use during these weekends. If you're familiar with the term hot pull, this is something that typically would have been a local yellow. They would have been able to get the car, on a flat tow in some cases. But during the races, if this is practice or qualifying, it's a little bit different. But during races, certainly the full course caution is going to come out in most of those situations. But it sounds like we've got another car off in turn 8 as well. So, and that's looks like a brake lockup per chance here.
It looks like the rear end is locked up on that car. That's Dennis Kelly, Group A Racing. Now, the two may be related. I dare say if a differential was to lose its fluid, it may lock up. So perhaps the two are related. He's certainly somewhat beached, or the front end of that car looks pretty dug in. Obviously the Radical's low to the ground, big front splitter that can act as a lawnmower, but in this case I think it's acting more as a shovel.
It's odd position for the rears to lock like that.
Yeah, the only other thing I wonder is we've obviously gone into a safety car period. Now you have the field strung out and everyone is starting to concertina as they get collected behind the safety car. Just coming out of a corner like that, I just wonder whether he was caught out by just not anticipating the field to be backed up or checked up as much as they possibly were at that point. But shame for Dennis. Looks like Spencer Schmidt's also been involved somewhere.
So the bad news is it looks like the blower as well as the kitty litter trucks are out. So the sweeper trucks are headed towards Kettle Bottoms.
Yeah, I think we do have a couple of cars in a couple of different locations. Certainly Spencer Schmidt, he started that one. Valen Venkatesh as well was in the thick of that. So that opening tour has been rather eventful for some of these guys. Breathing a sigh of relief.
Well, the good news is here in this sort of situation is it's fairly looks mechanical. It doesn't look like it's something where we've had any impact or anything like that in all of these situations. So it should be a matter of just getting enough equipment to get the race cars off the racing surface. Now, where that car is in turn 8, in Hurry Downs. That is to driver's right, just before the corner entry. And they'll see what they can do about potentially getting that car probably to the cut on the inside of turn 8, which is right across the road. And it would be a fast transition to get that car out.
So whilst the emergency crews work on this one, we've still got the situation at the exit of the kink, and you can see there oil dried down. So certainly, I would say more than a bit of water on the racetrack.
Definitely a lengthy cleanup.
And there's going to be a fair amount of dust through that part of the racetrack. It's amazing how narrow this circuit feels in this section, the concrete canyon coming down the back with these two fantastic sweepers sort of built into what we call a back straightaway down into Canada Corner. A fantastic section of track. It really separates the men from the boys, if you will. You've really got to grit your teeth as you continue to pull gears through that famous kink and then hang on for dear life as you head down into Canada Corner. This racetrack has got to be one of the greatest circuits in the world. And, as we can see here, unfortunately, sometimes that the challenge becomes a little bit too much. But as you mentioned, it looks to me a bit more mechanical than perhaps driver error. A few drivers have some interesting stories with this race. We've mentioned a lot this weekend Austin Riley from Canada, a former Pro 1340 champion. Poor old Austin lost his dog recently, and Indy the dog has helped him through a lot. Austin has autism, and Indy the dog, as well as racing, was has been the driving forces really between making a big difference for Austin during his life. And Indy the dog is riding alongside Austin, would you believe, cremated in a small container inside the race car. And this dog apparently was pretty instrumental, would just understood kids with autism, would give them a lot of confidence too whenever the dog was present. And Austin had always sort of wanted to give the dog a ride even at slow speeds in a race car. It wasn't to be, but Indy the dog is alongside Austin out there at the moment.
All right, so it sounds like the cleanup over at 11 has concluded. They've put the dry down, the two sweepers, and now picking up the car at turn 8, the Road America safety team.
So we should be going green again. 25 minutes remaining on the clock. Plenty of time to get plenty of action in from the Radical Cup North America Series. That car on the wrecker, so definitely that one was terminal. I'm guessing the diff locking up in the rear of that Radical SR3. Bit of an odd one. Don't see that too often. But far too many tours for some of these drivers out there. Of course, the likes of Louis Schreiber will be looking to get past Wayne Williams on the restart. Wayne Williams, what a turnaround this has been from crashing into the wall and now leading the opening few laps.
You know, the situation that we typically find ourselves in here, Tom, with Radical Cup North America, we tend to get the early yellow, and then we end up having a wild, crazy finish that's just throwing laps down the last 15, 20 minutes. And right now we're kind of just about to that point where less than 25 minutes remaining in the session, just about to halfway, when we probably would get the green flag. And we do understand that race control is saying we are going green this time by.
And 2 drivers to look out for are those that just went through shot, and that's right at the back of the field. Venkatesh and Schmidt. They will be carving their way up back to their rightful place. Also look out for the 18 of Vaughan Glace. I expect he will be a rocket ship at this restart. What can Louis Schreiber do in the 111? How about Jack Yang in the 21 machine? Can he get another win here at Road America? He's certainly had one in the past. He knows how to wheel a race car around this circuit. Austin Riley, he's sitting pretty for another podium after taking one at Sebring and Barber. Mike Anzaldi's only one step away. This is going to be fantastic stuff. Brady Clapham with some work to do too in Pro 1340. He's been the star of the show so far this year. Certainly Mr. Consistency. He's had to deal with the likes of Vaughan Glace and a couple of others, but Mike D'Ambrose Sr., every time he jumps in a motor car, keeps the young guns honest. And the Chicago driver doing that again at the moment. The lights ablaze on that 111 machine of Louis Schreiber.
And again, for those race fans that are here on a Friday afternoon, maybe you haven't seen the Radical Cup before, 3 different classes of racing, plus a couple of other gold driver and rookie competitor classes as well. But all 3 classes of cars indicated by the yellow, red, and green fluorescent day-glow colors on the end of those wing sails. And you'll be able to see the difference in the field. Platinum up front, and this is Wayne Williams bringing the field up at speed. Pace car is off, and we are green here at Road America, and we are back racing for Radical Cup.
It's already too wide at the front, and I think it's about 3 or 4 wide as they come down the straightaway. I think they'd be wider if there wasn't an inside wall. This is wild stuff on the restart here. You can see all the Pro 1500 cars as Wayne Williams charges through, leading the field again, but Louis Schreiber looking particularly racy, and John Field, that is not a man you want to have in your mirror as a former America Le Mans Series champion. Is charging hard from 3rd place. What can he do as they head down into 5? Further back, a little bit of commotion. It looks like a slow car exiting turn 3. And down into 5, a massive lockup from Steve Jenks, who can't woe up the 68 machine. And he'll undoubtedly run wide. Somehow he manages to keep it on the racetrack. But he's lost plenty of time there, and now he's under all sorts of pressure. In fact, I think Chip Romer found his way through.
Chip Romer, no stranger to Road America either. He's got a couple of prototype wins in multiple different SCCA classes here at Road America, but it is continuing to be Williams, Schreiber, and Field at the front of this race, with Romer, Jenks, and Blander in platinum. The top 6 cars here working through the carousel on the exit of turn 10 underneath the Mission Foods Bridge.
It's going to be interesting to see a little bit further back behind this top pack where Raiden Nicole is. Is he carving it up? Is he dicing it up with the front runners in the platinum class? Or is he falling back into the clutches of Jack Yang? There's 3, the top 3 in Pro 1500 are line astern, just like they are in platinum as they come down into Canada corner. Wayne Williams with a better approach. He's learnt from that turn 1 mistake, and now seems to have the race a little bit more under control. Louis Schreiber not quite as aggressive, or certainly not seeming to be on the attack like he was in lap 1.
Raiden Nickel continues to lead here in Pro 1500. Jack Yang for Velour in the 2nd position, 8th place overall. And it sounds like the 61 machine has lost pace, and that is Mike Anzaldi from Rhino Racing. Anzaldi, that's a heartbreaker. Anzaldi always quick here at Road America, but Clapham has gotten around the Ambrose Sr. for the lead in 1340.
Well, that's big news in 1340, and Austin Riley will now have another young gun, Luke Kendall, to contend with. So out with the old of Mike Anzaldi and in with the new in Luke Kendall. And Kendall's past Austin Riley. So another position change there. That's for 3rd place in Pro 1500.
And your leaders race their way towards turn 5 into the braking zone. John Field giving a little bit of a gap to Louis Schreiber in the second spot, but Schreiber right on the back plate of Wayne Williams as they head up underneath the Corvette Bridge, make that blind left-hander at the top of the hill, and work their way towards Hurry Downs, towards turn 8.
Yeah, and you can see just at the top of the screen, Ben Blander coming through shot. Right after him, it's Raiden Nicol, Jack Yang, the front runners in Pro 1500. So we've had it confirmed that the 61 of Mike Anzaldi is now behind the wall. He's out of this one as well. So the attrition rate pretty high at the moment for race 1 of 3 here at Road America.
Just want to point out through the kink, looking at your lead group there, that Wayne Williams has pulled away from Louis Schreiber. Louis Schreiber did not get a good exit in 8, and John Field now right on his gearbox. But if you look at that distance, how critically important turn 8 is to build your run towards Canada.
Absolutely, and Steve Jenks out by his lonesome as well. So Wayne Williams with a little reprieve here, doing what he needs to do in an unfamiliar car. Meanwhile, look at Louis Schreiber under all sorts of pressure now. John Field is on the attack. John Field filling the mirrors of the 111 machine as they head up underneath the bridge and down the main straight. It's eternity, it feels like, at speed as you psych yourself up into turn 1. These cars carrying all sorts of speed through the first of 2 almost 90-degree right-handers. And you can see how much exit they use, everything that exists in terms of the racetrack surface and more with the curbing. And same thing as they set themselves up for that long run down through turn 5. Hopefully we'll get to see a little bit of the action behind these front runners in the Platinum class, because Raiden Nicol is leading with a good gap over Jack Yang, but I really want to see that battle from sort of 10th on the grid down, because Austin Riley, Luke Kendall, Andy Lowe, Arul Venkatesh, they're all in there.
So looking for your leader in
that
7th spot, and there is Raiden Nicol coming into turn 5, so that is Jack Yang.
Absolutely, and then we've got an out-of-class platinum, or out-of-place platinum class car. There's this extended battle for the Pro 1500 minor placing, and Vaughn Glace is back on to the pack, so he's carving his way through, as is Spencer Schmidt, who we just saw make a pass. So Schmidt is also on the move, 18th now. He was at the tail end.
Somebody looks like has got some smoke up at the top of the hill in turn 6. Waiting to see if that was a brake lockup potentially, or we've got something with mechanical. Looks like it was a brake lockup at the top of the hill at 6.
So there is Schmidt hunting down our leader in Pro 1340, the Canadian. And that's Brady Clapham in the 77 machine for Ryspec Racing. He's just ahead of Spencer Schmidt, who sits 18th overall on the racetrack. And he's around about 9th in class at the moment, and dust being kicked up at the exit of the carousel. Side by side, and it looks like, in terms of outright track position, Spencer Schmidt's just claimed another victim past the leader in Pro 1340.
And Clapham continues to lead in 1340. Mike Ambrose Sr., 19th overall, and then Kenny Nail, the 91 machine, 21st overall for that Graham Rahal performance entry. And so Nail is in that 3rd spot in the 1340s.
It's a good battle that we can see coming down the front straightaway here. There is 3 cars line astern behind, or the first is Andy Lowe, Englishman. And he is defending hard at the moment, hustling hard as well to try and keep a couple of drivers at bay. And Andy Lowe, it looks like, with Arul Venkatesh and Chris Hunn just behind him. So Vaughn Glace, I think, is going to close in on the gearbox of that trio. The big question will be, can they catch Austin Riley and Luke Kendall? So a pass into, certainly a big look into turn 5. And this is going to become a six-way fight as off the racetrack. I think that was Luke Kendall just making a minor mistake there. Drivers pushing hard throughout the field. And whether it's racing for first, third, or 13th, all these drivers pushing really, really hard now. So around the carousel again, Andy Lowe with a mirror full of Arul Venkatesh, Chris Hunn in the 53 machine also keeping them honest. And the dust being kicked up a little bit by Chris Hunn. He's got a great run under the rear end of Arul Venkatesh as they exit the kink. Venkatesh perhaps a little bit braver on the loud pedal. Just finds a little bit of a gap as they head down into turn 12. And I think Venkatesh certainly got a little reprieve. He was definitely more comfortable going through the kink. It should be flat out in these machines, but with a little bit of dust and debris around, who knows at the moment? Of course, it's late in the day. The Firestone IndyCar rubber's been laid down, and these drivers using all the exit and more as they come on to the main straight.
And this long Road America straight, again, you're going into a headwind, so it's a little bit slower here into turn one, but it gives you a lot more downforce under braking into turn one. So these drivers can go just a little bit deeper into turn one, and the same opposite effect is true as we see a side-by-side battle into turn one.
Yeah, Venkatesh popping out and having a look. Has he made the pass stick, though? That's the big question. Andy Lowe was certainly doing the business for a while, and he still is. So Arul Venkatesh goes from having a look at Andy Lowe to falling back into the clutches of Chris Hunt. Meanwhile, proper performance as Vaughn Gleis has closed in on this trio, and so too has Spencer Schmidt. And at the front of the field, it's been Wayne Williams and Louis Schreiber trading fastest lap time. Schreiber now a half a second is the gap between him and the outright lead, and that lead for the Platinum classes. Again, there's more dust and debris kicked up onto the circuit side by side, and you can see a bit of a touch there. And 3 wide now as they head down. This is wild stuff. Turn 7, not usually a passing opportunity around here. And you can see Vaughn Gleis jockeying for position. Spencer Schmidt has a look to the inside of Gleis. He can't do it there. But now Gleis gets pushed out wide. Spencer Schmidt will have a run around the outside of the famous carousel. Can he do it? That's not really the place you want to be. It's typically very, very dusty. And Gleis does live to fight another day just ahead of Spencer Schmidt. And these guys are racing... Well, they're racing for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th in class. So Vaughn Gleis has a look now at Chris Hunn in the 54. And Gleis having a fantastic run back through the field. Wayne Williams has just stretched his lead out to over a second ahead of Louis Schreiber, a Wisconsin driver. And again, the slipstream in full effect here up the front straightaway. Gleis reacting to Hunt, who moves over and takes the widest line possible down the straight, trying to keep in the slipstream of the car ahead. Now he just has a little look ahead. Gleis has a bigger look, and Spencer Schmidt's right there as well. It won't be something that either of these drivers can do heading through 1 or 3, I would suggest. But who's going to get the best run out of turn 3 and down this long chute into 5?
Just about 30 minutes into this one, so now this is the longest portion of the sessions of the weekend so far. So 30-minute sessions all the way through. Now we've got a 40-minute session. Are we going to have any machine fatigue or driver fatigue? Much warmer this afternoon, but the final 10 minutes battle up here into turn 5 under braking.
Tremendous move by Spencer Schmidt, and he's done the job past Vaughn Gleis. So that's a big one. So he'll take over the reins in terms of trying to push ahead through this pack of cars. I have no doubt that both Vaughn Gleis and Spencer Schmidt are a little faster than the guys in front. And already Spencer Schmidt's having a look at Chris Hunn. So it's one thing to get back on a gearbox. It's another thing to make a pass. Certainly around here, it's easy to position the car, even in the high-speed sections, to make sure it's very, very difficult to get a proper run out of the kink and down into turn 12.
Absolutely, and that run starts, as we mentioned, at turn 8, and it's all downhill from there until they get through Kettle Bottoms to the bottom of Canada Corner, but a great passing opportunity there as well. We're going to see another late dive. We're going to see mirrors full, and there it is. There's the late dive, but pulls back in the line into Canada Corner.
And it's crucial to really commit or avoid a pass, and you can
Look at the run that develops. He filled the mirror, and there was a mistake. The car just ahead and able to try to capitalize on that and around.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You run too hot into turn 12, a little bit too late on the brakes, and all of a sudden, all of that momentum is dissipated by having to put too much turn on the tiller. And as you scrub that speed through turn 12 and try and stay on the racetrack, your competitor behind, who's on the proper racing line and carrying the speed through the corner, is able to get that run. And that's exactly what happened to Chris Hunn. Just too late on the anchors into 12. And all of a sudden getting eaten up by Spencer Schmidt, who's doing a good job. So now Vaughn Gleis will try his luck at Chris Hunn, while Spencer Schmidt gets a run under the Sargentino Bridge, and that will be Arul Venkatesh, his former teammate, that he is trying to make a move on.
Wayne Williams back to the purple lap. Fastest lap again to your leader now.
And Spencer Schmidt again attacking down into 5, and he's done it again. So Spencer Schmidt really comfortable on the late braking moves here around Road America. Arul Venkatesh has been relegated again, and Schmidt now up to 6 in class. Can he get past the Englishman in Andy Lowe? So it's interesting up the front, isn't it? Because Wayne Williams has set a purple time, but that gap between himself and Louis Schreiber keeps toing and froing. It's sort of remaining between half a second to a second. It just seems like one driver will have a little error on one lap, and the next lap the other driver is feeling the pressure. But Wayne Williams relatively comfortable at the moment with about a second gap to a froing with Louis Schreiber. John Field sitting third. Chip Roma, it's sort of settled down behind those front runners. John Field, and again we see a look for Spencer Schmidt into turn 12, and impressive stuff from Andy Lowe, managing to give a gap to the inside but hang it around the outside and carry that momentum through 12.
But your leader, Wayne Williams, continues to set the pace. Oh, someone off in 14, a little wide. That is not optimal track limits. That's got a lot less grip once you get off into the dirt past the gator strips on the exit. But Williams continues to set the pace here. Has pulled out to a 1.2 second advantage last time through at the stripe. And again, Schmidt looking to move forward again.
Yeah, Spencer Schmidt, what a recovery drive this is for him. Past Andy Lowe, and now Schmidt sits in the top 5 in that Pro 1500 class. We have another pass further back, and that is Vaughn Gleis making a move on Chris Hunn. So Hunn looks like he's getting a good run as they head back down towards 5. So that job might not be over for Vaughn Gleis, who cuts across to the inside, defends to the inside, and he realized he was under attack. Brady Clapham still leads Pro 1340 from Mike D'Ambrose Sr. Kenny Nail is up to 3rd in that class, and Dermot Ennis sits 4th, and Aaron Ziegler, a newcomer for this weekend, sits 5th in that class.
So it sounds like we've got a car off at turn 8. Not sure if that's going to be the driver's left or right.
So whilst Raiden Nicol has certainly taken command yet again of Pro 1500, this is the closest that anyone's really been to him all year long. Jack Yang was confident in the paddock this weekend when we spoke to him and his driver coach. and team owner from Valor Racing. And I think that Jack Yang has really found some speed. He's comfortable around this racetrack, and all of a sudden, Raiden Nicole was under a bit of pressure, made that mistake in the practice sessions, and whether it's just he's trying to take it easy after, sheepishly having to hang his head low as he came back into the paddock after putting the car in the wall, or whether or not it's just that Jack Yang is that comfortable around Road America. I'm not quite sure, but Yang certainly giving it his all, second in class and leader of the gold subclass of Pro 1500. Spencer Schmidt ahead, and Vaughn Glace having a look now at Arul Venkatesh. So the 13 heading backwards a little bit as Glace and certainly Spencer Schmidt try and carve their way up. Luke Kendall, I wonder whether he'll come under some pressure. There's only 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this one. Perhaps not enough time for Spencer Schmidt to carve his way up to fourth, but we'll wait and see. Austin Riley, how fantastic is this? Another podium position for him. That's fantastic news for him in the championship. So, Wayne Williams, lap 14. Louis Schreiber sits second. And you can see that John Field has taken over second place from Louis Schreiber. Louis Schreiber pops back and has a look. But Louis Schreiber's car just hasn't worked through this race. He had pace early on. It seemed to come on very, very quickly in that opening tour. But from then, I think the Hankook tyres have just got too hot. The setup has been too aggressive for those opening laps. And Louis Schreiber's fallen back into the clutches of John Field, who's conversely had a car that's come on through this race, and all of a sudden Field in second place.
And one of the things that we kind of looked at with Schreiber being in the kind of going aggressive at the back door gate of Wayne Williams as trying to look to the inside of Field. And it looks like they may have had contact there.
Oh, they've definitely had contact there. And Louis Schreiber coming from a long way back. He was alongside by the time they turned into the corner. But you can see again Schreiber side by side with Chip Roma. And the problem is you can be side by side going into turn 5. But if you've come from far back as he did, the guy in front's already turned in. They're already on their line. They've already made their move, and they're committed to their corner. So whilst I think, you could say game on, and perhaps a little bit optimistic from Louis Schreiber, who was trying to make amends for whatever happened, and John Field now comfortably in second place.
And Chip Romer decided to go elbows out at the top of the hill at 6 as well, side by side with Schreiber, and elbowed him out a little bit on the exit of 6 into turn 7. But we will be coming to the White Silk this time by.
So John Field now negotiating a back marker. Chip Roma is certainly through on Louis Schreiber, who's been relegated to 4th place. The back markers, the out-of-class cars, are always something to contend with. Around here, there's a huge speed differential between the front runners and the back markers. And it just depends where you're going to capture some of these drivers. You don't want to catch a car in the middle of a high-speed corner if you're in one of those platinum class cars. The white flag is out. We're on the final tour of race 1 of 3 here at Road America for the Radical Cup North America Series. Wayne Williams leads outright and in the platinum class. What a turnaround drive this is. I got to say, starting the year, Wayne Williams just looked like he'd found a lot over the off-season. He had a tremendous run last year in the back half of the season. It all started at Toronto, the streets of Toronto, his hometown, and he felt comfortable with that bucking Bronco of an SR10 with 430 brake horsepower, a wild ride around the bumps of Toronto. He seemed to gain the confidence he needed to take it to the top, to the likes of John Field, Chip Roma, Louis Schreiber, and now he finds all of that hard work over the off-season. He was here testing a few weeks ago. He's putting everything into practice, and he's really soaked up all the pressure. First it was from Louis Schreiber, and now it's from John Field, who is closing in on this final tour. I tell you what, Wayne Williams is going to have to give it everything around this carousel, because if there's one thing I know about Mr. John Field, he never gives up. He pushes really, really hard, and he's reeling him in. I've got to say, John Field, he's a very wily old driver. He knows what to do. I think he's let his Hankook rubber cool off for most of this race, and now he's hammered down as they head down into Canada Corner for the final time. Wayne Williams wasn't expecting this attack, and look at Field. He goes the inside, a big lunge into turn 12. Side by side they go, and they've touched, and Wayne Williams is around. So all of the hard work, we were just talking Wayne Williams up. It's been a stellar drive from him. It's all unraveled for him in this final tour, and John Field will head up to this final corner for the final time in the lead of the Platinum class.
And with that, Chip Romer, Louis Schreiber, and Blander all bumping up a position here, as that is just heartbreak for Wayne Williams as the checkered flag is out. John Field, your winner in Platinum.
Well, if there's one thing that, you can't give a gap to John Field. I was just saying that to the race director before this one, Charlie Kimball. John Field's a great competitor. I was lucky enough to race against him years ago, and you've got to be so careful not to give him any kind of look. And he's taken the opportunity, capitalized on perhaps a Wayne Williams just nursing something to the finish line. John Field takes a win from Chip Romer, Louis Schreiber, and Raiden Nicol hasn't crossed the line yet. We're waiting for him to come across the line. The 93 machine, a turnaround 2 for him. There he is, crossing the line and celebrating in style. Primal Racing, a well-deserved win for them after having to rebuild that race car, literally weld the chassis back together. And Jack Yang will take a fantastic result. Another second place for him, another podium for Valor Racing. Austin Riley on the podium too in Pro 1500. And Mike D'Ambrose, in all of that commotion with the Platinum class, they had been lapped, so they were just behind that pack. Mike D'Ambrose has finished second because Brady Clapham hadn't been lapped yet, so we're waiting for the winner. But Mike D'Ambrose, we can confirm, and Aaron Ziegler will round out the podium in Pro 1340, but we are still waiting for the 77 to take the checker.
But a heartbreak for Wayne Williams, dropped all the way back to 11th overall, but able to get the car refired and back underway.
I didn't finish my spiel about Wayne Williams. He turned the corner, but the one thing that he hadn't seemed to find is any luck. I don't know what this guy has done, what black cat he's run over, what ladder he was walking under at the same time as running over the black cat, but luck does not seem to find Wayne Williams, and unfortunately for him, the Cinderella story has turned into absolute heartbreak for the 57 driver.
Hopefully, in that case, there's not a lot of damage other than a little bit of pride with that 57 machine. Obviously, borrowing it from Greenwood Racing, but you look at the top step of the podium here. 3 drivers who absolutely love coming to Road America: John Field, Chip Romer, and Louis Schreiber in the Platinum category. Top 3 steps on the overall podium, but in the Platinum category, all 3 of those drivers absolutely love competing here at America's National Park of Speed. Fantastic race, and that's just race 1. We've got 2 more to go.
Well, I was a little bit worried there because we had that slow start. Never like to see a long extended safety car period. That's not what we want for our race fans. Certainly not here at Road America. We know how you guys and plenty of people waving to the Jumbotron at the moment. But we know how much you love to stick around and watch the Radical Cup racing. I'm glad to see that we did turn on a show. Spencer Schmidt ended up 5th in class. That was a good result for him. Raiden Nicol taking the win from Jack Yang and Austin Riley. Luke Kendall right in the thick of things too, 4th in Pro 1500. Brady Clapham 1st in Pro 1340 from Mike D'Ambrose Sr. and Aaron Ziegler. I've got to run down to the podium, so I'll leave you from up here. But 2 more races to go in the Radical Cup North America Series. And can't wait to see what happens tomorrow afternoon and then after the IndyCar race with that mandatory pit stop in race 3.
Absolutely. Tom, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you again for race 2. Looking forward to it on your Saturday here at America's National Park of Speed. We'll send Tom down there, and we'll get into Victory Lane coming up in just a few moments. But let's go through your unofficial finish. John Field for One Motorsports almost could have been what should have been a sweep of the podium from One Motorsports. Not to be, but John Field, Chip Romer, and Louis Schreiber in the third position in Platinum. Blander in the fourth spot. Fifth in Platinum is Long, one of Primal Racing's entries. Wayne Williams ends up sixth in Platinum. In seventh, Steve Jenks for Group A Racing. He also stopped along the race course and lost position after making some contact through the middle categories. And then eighth is Wagner. Ninth is Dylan. And then the two cars that did not start, Booth and Albin in the Platinum category. In Pro 1500, it is Raiden Nickel for Primal Racing, your winner. For Velour, Jack Yang in the second spot. Austin Riley, the Racing with Autism entry. That is your podium in Pro 1500. And then at fourth, it is Kendall, Schmidt, Lowe, Glace, Venkatesh, Hoon, Durachet, Mason, and Zaldi, Venkatesh, and Kelly in Pro 1500. And in Pro 1340, Clapham, Mike DeAmbrose, Austin Ziegler, Kenny Nail, and Ennis in the 5 spot for 1340. There's a look at our victory lane here at Road America, Park for May, as it were. You see multiple drivers come on in, and part of the best part of benchtop racing is, of course, the talking of the hands as drivers get out of the car and wait for the podium celebrations here in the Radical Cup North America Race 1 of 3 this weekend. Of course, we'll return to the track with Radical Cup race number 2 tomorrow afternoon at 3:20 in the afternoon. So 3:20 is round 2 for the Radical Cup North America on your Saturday. Up next, we've got Vintage Indy Registry coming up at 6:15 following our podium celebrations. And, of course, tomorrow we'll start bright and early at 8 a.m. We'll go racing with USF Pro 2000. Rob Howden and I will have the call at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Indy next, P2 at 9 o'clock, followed by the NTT IndyCar Series Free Practice 2. And that is a limited guarantee session at 10:05. And then we'll go racing again with USF 2000, round number 1. And then get into Indy Next qualifications, IndyCar Series qualifying, and then Radical Cup Race 2, and then Race 2 for Pro 2000 and USF 2000, round number 2. And we'll wind up our day with Vintage Indy Registry. Of course, don't forget the Road America Challenge as well coming up tomorrow night at the Sheboygan County Fair Park. Bumper-to-bumper IRA sprints, Wisconsin wingless, and the PDTR MSA 360 sprints. Tickets still available at roadamerica.com tomorrow night at the Sheboygan County Fair Park, just 5 miles away in the city of Plymouth, just 5 miles south of Road America here in Elkhart Lake. And we will go down to Tom with our podium celebrations.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that have joined us down at the podium here at Road America, it's time to celebrate the victors in the Radical Cup North America Series. I'm literally catching my breath from having to run from the commentary booth. Our drivers are also making their way from Parc Ferme. And we'll start, as we often do, with Pro 1340. Congratulations to a relative local Chicago driver for Team Stradale, home third, Aaron Ziegler. Waiting for Aaron Ziegler to make his way up to the podium. Was a good race today for Team Stradale. A number of competitors And we'll bring up the next one, because home second, we had dinner the other night, a good pep talk, and Mike D'Ambrose took second place. And taking the win will bring him up. Congratulations, Brady Clapham. Well, I guess, Brady, you've beaten them on the racetrack and you've beaten them to the podium as well. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, that was not the easiest of race, because Mike D'Ambrose is pretty quick out there for an old bloke.
He is. I mean, coming to someone's home track like that is definitely tough. He knows some special secrets for sure that I don't know. So it was definitely hard to get around him and stay in front of him for sure.
And, of course, a Canadian running here with Canada Corner. It's nice to be called out, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels great. I mean, I don't know why it's called Canada Corner, but I'm not complaining. So
the closest corner to Canada, mate. Well, take your place there, and we'll bring up third place, Aaron Ziegler. Congratulations, Aaron. First time on the podium this year. Well done, sir. Take your trophy and make your way onto the other side of the podium there. And Mike D'Ambrose, second place. Two drivers for Team Stradale. All right, gentlemen, we'll have those hats on. We'll get the shots from the paparazzi, those trophies at chest height, and they're nice and high. Ladies and gentlemen, give these guys a round of applause. And we'll bring in the champagne. Not on the suits is what Mike D'Ambrose is saying. Although you've got to celebrate Brady Clapham, I think. So,
Bob, let's get it, buddy.
3, 2, 1, let's celebrate. All right, gentlemen, grab those trophies. Brady Clapham. All right, we'll move on to 1500, and we'll start with our gold class competitor, our winner in the gold class. He was actually second place as well, but we'll bring him up for his gold class win first. Congratulations, Jack Yang for Valor Racing. Jack Yang, we'll get a quick photo. Jack, celebrating the gold class win. Jack, just go into the middle of the podium there, mate, and we'll just quickly get a shot for your tremendous gold class win. Congratulations. And if you could just stay somewhere around there, because, of course, Jack was also on the Pro 1500 podium. Congratulations, though. Home third today. That's 3 racetracks this year, 3 podiums. Congratulations, Austin Riley. Another Canadian on the podium. Home third, Jack Yang. Congratulations, you were second place outright in Pro 1500. Well done to Valor Racing's Jack Yang. And taking the win, he started the hard way, literally in the wall. I don't think he's going to live that down for a while. The team worked all night to literally repair a car with help from Team Stradale. They were welding up the chassis. The chassis is straight. The mind was straight again. And congratulations, taking the win, Rayden Nicole. He makes it 7 from 7 starts. Now, Rayden, if you're going to break your winning streak, I suggest you don't do what you did yesterday. That's a tough way to do it, but there was only one way to repay all of that hard work last night, wasn't there?
Yep, and that's to win. Hopefully we can win the next two. But, yeah, the guys worked tirelessly through the night. I think we got out of the track at 1 a.m. Huge thanks to Mike Eiler and Patrick O'Connor for working their butts off. Obviously, Team Stradale helped us a ton as well. But, yeah, if it wasn't for them, wouldn't be here. But overall, it was a great weekend.
It's pretty special, isn't it, the camaraderie that exists in this paddock, given that it's other teams, competitors, that are helping you out to get you back on track. Congratulations today, a well-deserved win. But I tell you what, there's two guys either side of you that seem to be finding their feet in this Pro 1500 machinery. Look out, Raiden Nicol, I'd say, because Jack Yang, Austin Riley are coming for him. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, give these guys a big round of applause. All right, we'll bring in the champagne. The champagne is going to come in, and we'll celebrate. Three, two, one. Let's celebrate here on the podium at Road America. Beautiful stuff there from Raiden Nicol. And speaking of Pro 1500, thank you, gentlemen. We'd like to bring up our Sunoco hard charger. In that one, it was the number 67, James Long. There was action up and down the pack in Pro 1500. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
We'll give you a Sunoco hat as well. The gift card will be in the mail.
All right.
But what was that like,
It was crazy.
racing in the Radical Cup at Road America?
Wide open. I'd just like to thank Primal because they set my car up. I messed up qualifying, and that's what caused me to be starting the back. And they really helped me get it going. And
Well,
they went over my films and everything and told me what I need to do, and it made a difference. And it was wild, though, you know. There was 3 or 4 cars at a time, you know, right in front of you.
well, it is a wild ride around this racetrack. Congratulations from the back. Carved your way up. You are the Sunoco hard charger. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, James. Brilliant job. And we will crack on with the Platinum class. I've got to say first, Lady Luck does not agree with Wayne Williams, and commiserations for him because that was a great drive for most of that race. But in that last lap, it opened the door for these 3. And congratulations, I know it means a lot this weekend. Louis Schreiber coming home 3rd for JBR Racing. Louis, born in Wisconsin, you've always got a lot of fans here as well. But I know this event, and in particular this year, means a lot to you. Perhaps a few words.
Yeah, I love Road America. It's a great thing. First of all, I got to give a great shout out to JBR. We started way behind pace, and they got this car to the top. You know, really wore the car out in this heat. And then the last few laps were just felt like a go-kart race for a little bit there. I feel good up here. I've got a special place in my heart right now. I lost a dear one, Marko Nikicic, and put my car up into the foundation and stuff. So we're going for a win. That number 1 spot's going to be mine one of these days, or next few days. So put everything I could in it today. Feel good. Some days you just can't get there. So thank you.
Well, there's 2 more races, and there's one man who I know wants a win more than anything this weekend. It's you. We'll see what happens in race 2 or 3. I think the next man might want to win too. He's certainly done it around here in SCCA competition. Congratulations, home 2nd place, Chip Roma. Chip, a bit of a turnaround from sort of unlucky, a bit of, bad luck, if you will, some frustration at Barber, back on the podium. This is a way to recover.
Well, without a doubt, we were a fifth-place car. If Louis hadn't made a mistake, and Steve Jenks, they were driving great. Louis' car was awesome. Wayne was in a league of his own. And, of course, John. Just glad I can get up here. It's awesome. A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's very, very tough competition. And no tougher than this next man. He's won an American Le Mans Series championship. He's won 2 Radical Cup Platinum Class championships. Our reigning champion, congratulations, and winner John Field.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, Louis and Wayne and Chip, what a race they all drove, man. It was just fun. It was fighting to the end. It was great. Road America.
Yeah. Now, on that last tour, mate, you came from miles back. You seemed to leave everything to the last minute, charge hard. You got to talk through Canada corner, though, because that was a big dive from a long way.
Well, I mean, Louis' car was a mess in the carousel, and Wayne's got really bad. And Wayne going into the kink, he got sideways, so I just kept her pegged and had a run on him, and it worked out. Yeah.
It worked out indeed. Congratulations, John Field, taking the win in the Platinum class. Ladies and gentlemen, give these guys a big round of applause. The trophies go up. John Field taking the win. We'll bring in the champagne. John Field saying no champagne. I feel like Louis Schreiber's going to celebrate a little bit, though. Congratulations, top 3 in the Platinum class. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the podium presentation here. Race 1 of 3. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon. And also, after the IndyCar race, stick around for all the action from the Radical Cup North America Series here at Road America.